Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It's Wednesday morning in your nation's capital, the 11th day of February. Good morning at 5:07. It's O'Connor and Company. We've got a lot of updates here overnight. Some developments, sort of, in the Nancy Guthrie case, the missing mother of Savannah Guthrie, where an individual was detained for questioning and then released. We'll give you the details as we know them. We also have some developments over in Europe, as the Ukrainian President Zelensky has now indicated that he is open to an election, although there's some question as to how fair that election might be. This, of course, is one of the demands from the Russian government to reach some sort of peace deal. But now it appears that Zelensky maybe is walking back his promise for election. I don't know. We'll try to give you all the details as we make sense of them here. Most importantly, Mummy 4 is now in plans. Bethany Mandel, are you?
It's important.
Have you shown your kids the Mummy movies yet?
No.
They're a little scary. They are.
Yeah.
But they're fun.
I was like a little concerned about you when you mentioned that right as we were about to turn on our microphones and go on the air.
Quite possibly the most important story. I mean, only National Treasure 3 would
Wait, so this is the
this.
Mummy 4? There's been 3 Mummy movies?
Oh, Bethany. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Michael Shelton is nodding at me like, how do you not know this?
They are a wild ride. They're a lot of fun.
Okay.
They're just sort of, you'll enjoy it, I promise. Brendan Fraser at his best. That's Bethany Mandel. She's going to join us in our conversations later this morning at 6:35 with Cal Thomas. 7:05, Chris Sununu of the Sununu Dynasty in New Hampshire. Talk about the budget battles right now and how the potential partial shutdown of DHS might affect your travel with TSA. 8:05, Mark Morano, Climate Depot. There's a huge deregulation announcement coming this week that will be a game changer coming from the Trump administration. And then 8:35 brings us Morgan Wright. He's a cybersecurity expert. And we're going to get his perspective on this Nancy Guthrie story. You know, a big part of the trail, the breadcrumbs they're following are digital breadcrumbs with this Bitcoin demand and such. We'll talk to Morgan Wright about that. Also, Bethany Mandel, I have been made aware that your dog sitter is listening in this hour specifically. She is up early, going to take care of her father, coming from an overnight sleep study. And so Sarah, who is your dog sitter for Truman, wants to make sure that you are on your A game this morning.
I wish that I could bring Truman on the air and he could opine along with us, but alas, that's frowned upon, I hear.
Yeah, no, we don't like to bring dogs on the air. It's a thing. It's a thing. Especially when they're partially incontinent. We don't like. There's something about dog pee. Oh,
so you're going to publicly shame my dog when he gets excited?
Dogs pee. What can I tell you? Dogs
pee. A little when he gets
tinkle.
excited.
Oh, tinkle? Is that what you call it? Tinkling?
Just a little smattering. It's just a dusting of urine when he gets excited.
Every time Meredith and I go right up to the brink of committing to getting a dog, I think about things like this. I think about the fact that they tinkle.
Yeah.
And all of the nice things that we have will smell like dog tinkle. And you can call it tinkle, but in my mind, it's pee.
He only does it. Okay. So we're a little bit captive to it. So he only does it when we walk in the house because he gets very excited so he can easily clean the floor. But right. he also jumps on us in bed, and if we try to shove him off, he gets a little nervous and scared, and so he has peed in our bed before. And so we're basically captive to his bladder whenever we get in bed because we're like, oh, he might pee on us if we try to shove him off.
Maybe this is the origin story of the infamous Trump golden shower tape in the Moscow hotel room. That it was really an overexcitable dog that was
Heather
involved.
Hunter looks thrilled that this is how we're starting the show. Thrilled.
I blame Sarah.
Yeah. Let's.
Well, listen, if your dog gets very excited, so much so that he cannot hold his bladder, he must be beside himself with the news about your daughter making her Trump Kennedy Center ballet debut. Tonight.
Crazy.
This is incredible. So tell us about that. This is a touring. This isn't the what you start. It's the ballet company, and they did local auditions. Is that what's going on?
Yes. So the American Ballet Theater, ABT.
That's a big deal.
They put out a notice of they wanted basically like extras, shepherds and shepherdesses and a clown and a prince. And I saw it on Instagram because I follow the Kennedy Center on Instagram, obviously, as everyone should. Trump Kennedy Center, I'm sorry.
It's just my job. I have to jump in. They advertise. I want to make sure everyone gets it right.
Oh, there you go. So I just want to note, by the way, that this was all organic. I did not put my finger on any scales. So I saw this advertisement, and we show up on Sunday, and it's 25 girls, all in ballet leotards, their hair in a perfect bun, their makeup done. And I looked at her and I was like, do you want to leave? And she's like, no, I want to shoot my shot. I'm like, okay. The flyer never said anything about having dance or ballet experience.
Right.
She does not have any.
Because these are just walk-on sort of extra ambiance kind of thing. Yeah.
Right.
But think American Ballet, I guarantee you they advertised, there were flyers up at all the dance schools around town.
I'm sure.
Because it's American Ballet Theater.
Right. So every girl shows up in a ballet outfit, and then my daughter is in her street clothes. She had just come from her friend's bat mitzvah party at Climb Zone or Urban Air or one of these things. She's just like in her regular clothes. And every single girl goes in, and the woman turns around to the parents and apologizes. And she's like, there's only one spot. And so I'm sorry. Maybe the flyer didn't make that clear. And I was like, no, it definitely didn't, because I don't think I would have showed up if I thought there was one spot available for 25 girls who showed up here. Yeah. And so I'm joking the whole time with the other parents standing outside, like, can they just test my daughter first and send us home so we don't have to wait for them to do the test for every single ballerina who obviously knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
And so all the parents are like, no, your daughter's great. I'm like, no, she's not. She's not a ballerina. What are we doing? Like, the flyer never said dance experience. So they test them for an hour, and we're standing there, and I'm like, I want to get home. I want to do things. And I had a business trip on Monday. That's why I wasn't on the show. So then they send 20 of the 25 girls out of the room. And they're like, that's the first cut. And my daughter remained. And I was like, uh-oh, she might actually get this. My business trip is in danger now. And she's standing there, and we can't hear anything, but I can see her. And she looks at me, and she just starts like excitedly nodding and smiling and giving me a thumbs up.
What a moment.
And I was like, oh my God, I think she got it. And so they send out the other girls, and she got the one female role out of the 25 girls. And so I
got to ask you real fast,
trip.
All those supportive ballet moms who were like, oh no, your daughter's great. No, it's fine. How supportive were they when your daughter ended up getting the job?
They were not. They thought I was a plant. They thought it was like
dance moms can be rough, man.
Yeah,
all right, so wait, hold that thought. We'll carry this over real fast, because if anybody wants to go see this, the performances begin tonight for the American Ballet Theater. Winter's Tale, starring. I see it right here on the website. Starring
a Mandel child.
A Mandel child. Okay, I didn't know if we were revealing names. No, in fact, the new billing here is Mandel child in American Ballet Theater's Winter's Tale. That's impressive that you negotiated that. All right, we'll give you details on that in a moment, and how this is now turning your life upside down, because now you have to be a stage mom.
Yes.
First, though, 5:15. So it's Winter's Tale, the American Ballet Theater's interpretation of the Shakespeare classic, and it begins performances tonight through Sunday. Is that right? You're committed for the rest of the week? You're going to be hanging out there on the Potomac, and you have to be there every performance, I'm guessing.
So I do, but they were very nice and allowed us to have Shabbat observance. So they took a boy understudy, and so they're going to split the performances, actually, so my daughter doesn't have to do the Shabbat performances, which is really
Friday
nice,
and the Saturday matinee.
Yeah,
but she'll be back there for Valentine's Saturday night with the American Ballet Theater. That'll be very exciting, very romantic.
Yeah, so she's giving up her spot to the understudy for Shabbat, which was very nice of everyone to accommodate it. But no, so it's funny, because she just like showed up in her street clothes, and all the other dance moms were really mad and thought that she was a plant.
Mercedes Schlapp's daughters are all performers in their school plays. Sean Spicer's son was a performer in his school play. Julie Gunlock's sons were performers in their school plays. Now it's because of Uncle Larry. Can we just concede that it's Uncle Larry's Broadway influence that gets all of these kids inspired to get up on stage?
You've never met my children.
That's not true. You keep saying that.
Really?
And I met your oldest at Five for Fighting at the Birchmere.
Oh, that's right. My oldest
John
too,
and
yeah.
Jessica.
That's right. So,
But my inspiration flows through the moms and dads.
Right. Or the people who are forward-facing public figures who speak for a living pass on.
Very, very gregarious and extroverted children. Yes. That could be part of it. Okay, all right, I'll give you that.
But she's so sweet. She will be on stage for a full minute out of a 95-minute play. Yeah. So she'll be on tonight, tomorrow night, and then at the Saturday night and Sunday matinee.
There you go, at the Trump Kennedy Center. Yeah. Well, congratulations.
And so if anyone wants to stalk me, I pretty much live at the Kennedy Center now. And I had to cancel my business trip.
Although I'm sure your clients understand.
Yeah, they were very nice. They were like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and also probably, while you're there, can you get some access to the president, Ambassador Grinnell? It's like they're trying to leverage it themselves.
So I know that Rick Grinnell listens to the show, and we had him on last week, and I would like to ask him to take a photo with my daughter because she listened to that. She listened to that segment. She did the Alexa and said, "Alexa, play WMAL," which apparently you can do.
That's the thing.
And so she listened to that segment where we talked to him and therefore knew Rick Grinnell's name. And so as soon as she got this, she ran out and was like, "I want to take a picture with Rick Grinnell." And that was when that's when the dance moms got suspicious of me because they were like, "Why does she know Rick Grinnell's name?" That's a weird thing for a 12-year-old to know. And I was like, "Well, I interviewed him last week." And then their like little radar went off and they're like, "Wait a second. That's how she did it."
Mommy interviewed him last week. Oh, no. The entire scandal. It's going to be awful.
So the scam.
This is, yet again, this is Trump corrupting the American theater and performing arts.
Ruining the arts.
Exactly. No. All roads lead to WMAL. We're very influential here, obviously. All right. Well,
and by the way, they don't know that I'm talking about this on the air, so.
Even better.
Everyone go buy tickets. Hopefully I'm forgiven.
That's what they get for sleeping in at 5 a.m. All right. Well, so your week is set. That's very exciting. And you have nice weather. It's not going to be as bad as the last time you drove into the Trump Kennedy Center, which I think was the Wednesday after the snowstorm.
Well, I got ruined yesterday driving in by the monks.
Oh, yes.
They were marching for peace.
The marching monks. We sort of
very angry at them.
Tried hard not to make fun of them because they're monks, but it's hard not to.
She was 40 minutes to her rehearsal yesterday because the monks messed up traffic downtown, and I was sitting in my car road raging about monks, and my daughter was like, "Mom, I don't think that this is right. I don't think that you're supposed to road rage about monks."
I don't understand why Buddhist monks decide that they're going to do this. Didn't they march like across the country or something? Are they marching around
Texas.
The world?
Oh, I had a lot of time in traffic to look up why they were marching, and I did not find it.
What's their beef with the United States of America? If you want to march for peace, go march in Tehran. Go march in. They're, for crying out loud, they're Buddhist. Go to Beijing.
Yeah.
And march.
That's where they get killed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they come to fascist America where they can do it for free.
They do their peaceful marches and their protests in a place where they know they're going to be able to do it peacefully without any interruption because we, in fact, are the peaceful nation on the planet with freedoms and liberties. But they have no sense of irony or history, for that matter. So.
Yep.
It's all right. They're Buddhist monks. They do have fabulous outfits, though. That color orange is very distinctive.
Maybe they were warm.
I'm sure. Well, you got to layer up. I don't think they should be allowed to block traffic, though. I mean, go ahead and march.
No, so that was what was really... They were protected by the police, and they were lucky they were protected by the police because I got mad. You are
You're
going
to turn
lucky.
on the monks. You're going to turn on the monks.
My daughter was aghast at my road raging about the monks. And it was funny because I called Seth, my husband, to rage about them, and I said, "You're going to protect me from tweeting about how much I hate the monks because I'm going to get canceled." And then I'm sitting here talking about it on WMAL.
Yeah,
so
it's all right.
Oh well,
there
goes my career.
It's your
I'm mad at the monks.
No, just say, "Oh, I was just doing a radio bit." Don't worry. People think we make this stuff up. It's fine. Use that sometimes if you need to. It's just a radio thing.
Yeah, sure.
It's 5:23.
Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app, O'Connor and Company.
5:37. Good morning. Chugging along here on your Wednesday morning in the nation's capital. 6:35. Cal Thomas will join us. Or you can call him Sal. His friends call him Sal Thomas. 7:05. Chris Sununu. He's the president and CEO of Airlines for America. Give us his insights into the potential for TSA getting shelved this weekend. That's not going to happen. It will slow things down at the airport, probably, if the Democrats don't come to the table and do something about the DHS funding. 8:05, Mark Morano on a big initiative pulling back some greenhouse gas regulations from the Obama era. And then at 8:35, Morgan Wright, cybersecurity expert, give us his perspective on the Nancy Guthrie missing persons case. That's all coming up. It's Larry O'Connor with stage mom Bethany Mandel. Good morning, Bethany. Good to have you here.
Good morning. Good morning.
You're a Montgomery County resident. In fact, you ran for Montgomery County School Board in an election cycle or so ago. So you know what's going on with the public schools. Talk to me about this shooting at Wooten High School in Rockville. Usually you hear of a school shooting and it would make, national news and everyone would start screaming about guns. This wasn't sort of your textbook school shooting story that left a child severely injured, by the way, and attempted second-degree murder charges against the suspect. There seems to be something more going on here. What do we know about it so far?
So we don't know a ton about what happened. So thank God it was apparently senior skip day, so there wasn't as many kids in the school, thank God. But there are a lot of reports that seem to indicate that the shooter was wearing an ankle monitor at the time. Unconfirmed, but have heard it from people who send their children to Wooten, that there's apparently a number of kids in the public school system in the high schools who are being monitored by the court system via an ankle monitor.
That is stunning to me. Absolutely dumbfounding to me.
I had no idea, and I am very tapped in on these issues. Something that frustrated me a great deal was that now there's conversations among MCPS officials about, maybe installing weapons detection systems and everything. It's like, what you could do is put back the security resource officers, the cops that you pulled out of the schools.
Right.
Because
during the BLM mania.
Yes. They pulled out the SROs, and this is something that almost everyone who was running for a school board seat talked about, the need to put SROs back in the schools, because it is a pressure valve in the schools to have cops there present to have a relationship with kids who are there as first responders. You don't necessarily need weapons detection systems if you have cops there who know what's going on. They know what time it is. And it's wild to me to see MCPS officials talking about very expensive systems being put in place for a school system that already spends $1 billion, with a B, $1 billion, when the solution they just threw out the window because of politics is SROs. Put them back in the schools.
The suspect is Khalil White Viatoro, 16 years old, charged as an adult with attempted second-degree murder and a whole lot of other charges, according to the Rockville City Police Department. He injured one student, another 16-year-old boy, who was shot in the hallway. This then started an hours-long lockdown. SWAT team, 7 canines combed the school searching for other possible victims. Apparently, earlier in the day, he had pointed his gun at another student, a 15-year-old girl, but did not shoot. Later, the detectives on the scene recovered a polymer 80 9mm handgun. It's a ghost gun, they believe, that White Viatoro used. And yes, there are multiple reports that he was wearing an ankle bracelet. One would think that if a minor, a 16-year-old, had enough run-ins with the law and the criminal justice system, that now a court had ordered an ankle monitoring system on them, that person would not then be fully integrated back into the public school student body, like just a normal student that you treat you would think that maybe these are special cases that you might want to handle differently and not have them integrated with the student body because, maybe they're trouble in some way.
Yeah, one would think if the court system has them on their radar, it's a fair bet that they're probably not people you want your kids spending time with. It is wild to me, by the way, that I think this was poorly handled from start to finish by MCPS. They were holding kids. I heard reports that kids got home at 10 p.m. that night because they didn't release them right away. And they started Wooten on time the next morning. Give kids a day. Take a personal day and just give them a beat to emotionally recover from what they just experienced.
Well, that's what I don't understand because, again, I sort of set this up of, it's a school shooting. But because it was and again, we're speculating, it appears to be potentially sort of some kind of gang thing or maybe more of a criminal thing than like a psychopath with a gun just walking in and starting to shoot up the place. But either way, you always hear about, okay, you want to deal with the trauma of it or the emotional aspects of it. When it's the latter, when it's some nutbag kid who goes in and tries to shoot up his classmates, you've got weeping in the halls. You've got everybody renting their clothing. Everybody is, taking days and days off. And, of course, they organize the marches against the gun groups and Second Amendment groups. But in this case, they're acting like, oh, no big deal. Everybody back to normal. It was just a criminal with an ankle bracelet who was trying to murder your classmate. Why is that different? Why are we supposed to take this in stride?
It's wild. It's a really scary situation for a lot of these parents and a lot of these kids, because I think that they got a window into just how unprepared MCPS is, which they shouldn't be considering how much violence is happening in the school system right now. They should have a protocol in place, and bringing the kids back the next morning at 7 a.m. is not it when you held them for until 10 p.m. the night before. And I heard a lot of parents kept their kids home. They said, no, this is a family personal day. The stress that all of these parents must have felt, I can't imagine.
If I were a parent, I would not let my kid back into the public schools until I was assured by the administration that students that had run-ins with the law to the point where they are being monitored by the court with an ankle bracelet are not going to be, integrated into the student body. I would not want my student in a classroom with a criminal.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That just seems like basic parenting to me.
It's a low bar. And it's funny because people always ask me, first of all, it's weird that I ran for school board as a homeschooler, and a lot of people said that. First of all, I am subject to regulation by MCPS by virtue of being a homeschooler. But I think that kids deserve better, and not everyone is privileged enough to have a parent who can and will homeschool them. But people always ask me, well, what about socialization? And these are the stories that I point to. I'm like, I don't want my kids spending the day with kids who are wearing ankle monitors, bringing guns to school. Kids deserve better. Public school kids in Montgomery County deserve better than what they're getting right now.
Homeschool kids are actually more positively socialized than many of the kids that go to public school. I'm aware of one homeschool kid that is so socialized, she's appearing at the Trump Kennedy Center in a ballet tonight. I mean, that's
and they're very happy about it because she's missing an entire day of school today. And
Coming up, we know Code Pink is a un-American terrorist organization, but we didn't know they were controlled by the Communist Party in China. We'll give you the details in a moment. First, though, it's 5:45. So we've got an update on Code Pink. Code Pink. Code Pink is the organized group. This goes all the way back to the Iraq War, I think, under George W. Bush. Medea Benjamin, who is a left-wing activist, created Code Pink, all about women who were protesting that war. But now they just protest America, basically.
Yeah.
Jody Evans and Medea Benjamin. It started in 2002. As anti-war activists. Well, the State Department is now identifying Code Pink and other groups in America as what they're calling vectors of Chinese influence operations. This, according to the New York Post. Code Pink and the People's Forum to Chinese. Wait, hold on. People's Forum is the other group. Sorry. Both being linked. Partisan hacks spent years peddling the phony Russia collusion hoax while turning a blind eye to the sprawling web of far-left activist organizations who push the agendas of the Chinese Communist Party, said Undersecretary of State for Public Diplomacy Sarah Rogers. She went on to say that organizations like Code Pink and the People's Forum denigrate the United States, whitewash the violence of Marxist regimes, and run cover for China while enjoying an influx of cash from a donor network with connections to the Chinese Communist Party. I'm not surprised, are you?
No, not at all. So if you've spent any time on Capitol Hill, which we have a lot of listeners who are Hill employees, across the board, I think and I'm saying like from Republican to Democrat, one of the least liked people in Washington is Medea Benjamin. She is so nasty and so confrontational and just a crazy person. And I've always wondered, how does she pay her bills? How does she do this? And I think this answers some questions.
They've uncovered a thing called the Singham Network. These are nonprofits funded by tech mogul Neville Roy Singham, whose wife happens to be Jody Evans, co-founder of Code Pink. Singham is an American expatriate who lives in China. Think about that. The husband of the founder of Code Pink actually lives in communist China and works closely with the Chinese government media machine and is financing its propaganda worldwide. And that's not from the Trump-Rubio State Department. That's from the New York Times reporting in 2023. Chinese diplomats, state media, and pro-China influencers use social media content sharing agreements and local partnerships to publish pro-CCP propaganda. China invests in public diplomacy exchanges, reporting tours, and educational and cultural initiatives to boost its image. Like those trips that Governor Tim Walz used to take back to Beijing all the time. The State Department assesses that China, Iran, and Russia aggressively use state media proxies and digital platforms to spread propaganda and falsehoods, undermine U.S. credibility and policies, and expand their influence. I'm glad they linked it back to the Russian collusion thing because, again, no doubt that Russia and Putin and Moscow, just out of habit going back to the Cold War, try to mess with us with propaganda and tinker with our public conversations. But I think it's a pimple on the butt of what China does. China has a real influence campaign going on here because we have we don't do much with Russia, to be honest. China, though, of course China's all over our media and all over political activism in this country. That's just good business for them. Right.
I mean, consider, just in his defense, consider how horrible it must be to be married to one of these women. I, too, would want to live in Asia. I, too, would want to live across the world. And so maybe all of this is just a conspiracy to get away from their noxious wives.
It's a very, very fair point. It's 5:53.